Guys, seriously, I have a question. I'm not sure if the fidget spinners died out or if those kids were the same ones eating all the Tide Pods. I have questions and I need answers. Outside of that, however, let me introduce you to the beginning of a new series. This is the start of Fjordur on launch day. TechPod Mains pulled together a few fun tribes that have a bit of a rivalry with the current alpha tribe here on Ark 14, so the plan was simple. We pull high numbers on launch day, take the broken base spots and push everyone else out of the map in order to establish a solid foothold before transfers open up. We were all assigned special tasks to optimize our chances. Somehow that derailed fast and we ended up beating up other nudists on the beach instead. In my defense, he spoke Russian. Don't feel bad for him, the naked man fears no pickpockets, so no harm no foul. Next we started the actual assignment, which involved taming flyers. We needed flying suicide pteranodons so we could easily reach the wings, which in turn meant we had to commit genocide on anything that would give us prime meat. Luckily for us, Wildcard decided to let everyone have 2x on launch day, so taming was actually bearable for once. I named the first bird Happy. It took about 2 minutes to lose him, but at least I could pretend I was a good parent for a few seconds. With Happy's help we flew up to the top of the snow mountain nearby and found ourselves a few wings. It didn't take too long to tame them, luckily, since Machem and Spartan were around to do most of the work. And isn't that just a wonderful feeling? I mean, personally I found that if you tuck one part of your pant legs into your sock, people expect less of you, and that's more or less the way I've spent my time playing Ark with my tribe TechPod Mains. They don't seem to mind. Most of them are Americans anyway, so they're used to being stepped on. Anyway, we brought the flyers back to our meet-up point, a location specifically chosen for its rich resources. However, we were also informed that one of our most beloved rivals was living not too far away from us, Farmers Only, led by Cynthia the wheelchair expert and his lovable companions the Dirty Dozen. We positioned ourselves as good as we could, until we all felt comfortable. They stacked some explosive Play-Doh on the Maywings' faces and dashed towards the base with one goal in mind. Take down the turrets, then run it over like a horde of zombies. Weirdest part of this plan was it worked. There he was, standing gloriously in a big glory hole-like entrance, exposing the entire building's inner secrets. Like a professional homewrecker aiming to ruin someone's 7th marriage, I swooped in, and just as skillfully I completely botched it by picking up one of my own guys. Clearly round 2 would go better. Wrong. It's like watching a crack addict try to do calculus at this point. As I accepted my fate of being washed up and barrel rolling targets, instead I got the backhand from a guy on some flying Kentucky Fried Chicken. Internally I told myself maybe it was time for some Tide Pods, but lo and behold, a savior emerges from the mist, picks off the Argentavis guy, and I'm back to freedom. I land on the roof of the now wrecked structure. At this point the zombie horde of TPM has overrun the building and all that's left to do is find the stragglers. I opted to use my crossbow, but seeing my success rate at hitting things with the pteranodon, I changed to the club. There was just one guy remaining inside as far as I could tell, and he was not having the hammer time at all, so he ran. I chased. Spotting a pteranodon, I decided to fight dirty and get an advantage, because in the end there is only one person who gets to tell the story. So as far as you viewers are concerned, I beat him to death with my hands tied behind my back. Be cool. I noticed the Maywing was almost dead, and being one of the few things I have ever tamed in my life, I decided it was better I put myself between his gun and my precious platypus. Once redirected, it took a few spins, but eventually I got the crack fiend. That was the big victory we needed this early into the game. We ended up scouting around the map, hitting smaller targets when they tried setting back up, and thanks to our numbers they never got back. That being said, they did try and it was a lot of fun. You have to respect the hustle. Next I decided I would try my hand on taming one of the coveted bats. It went well, mostly because being manhandled by a bloodsucker is something I experience from time to time. Now the real reason I wanted one of these was because these little bastards can actually fly in caves. Also, they used to have a glitch the first week where if you pointed the face downwards and pressed Q or E it went super fast, and who doesn't want to feel like a menace? Pull up China. So I started taking some red drops, and one after another I would get quite a few decent items. Very rarely, however, would I get a blueprint. They seemed oddly rare, and I figured there should be a better way, so I found one of Teacher's Game 2's videos and followed his instructions, and he suggested that I would start hunting for runes, which involved farming alpha creatures. I however had a tribe, so instead I committed burglary and took some we had in storage. Then I needed to find a volunteer. For this role I kidnapped Daugan, my favorite creature strangler. I imagine being Australian he wakes up fighting kangaroos. So for someone like him, going headfirst into a dangerous cave should be a regular Tuesday. We threw out our cryopods and marched right into the cave, killing the endangered animals who were taking refuge. The real hunt was for the bee boss. When all was cleared we found the summoning stone. We backed up Barney the dinosaur on top of the stone under the guidance of Teacher's Game 2. What was supposed to happen was that when we drew up our beautiful pentagram and summoned the boss, he would spawn stuck inside the tail of Barney the dinosaur. It did not play out this way. Instead we ended up playing Bite the Honey covered pinata. Also, can I just ask, who named this thing? I get it's from Norse mythology, but honestly, don't they know there are mega fans out there that put these names on their future kids? Some poor child is doomed to have his parents thinking they're super good at choosing names, when in fact the schmuck has unknowingly just been signed up for misspelled and mispronounced life sentence off never finding his or her name on a Coke bottle in the souvenir shop. Utter wank stains. Eventually we murdered the honey pinata, and that meant it was time to flounder in the amazing blueprints we were promised, which unsurprisingly, like most of my experiences, was a lie. It was some bottom of the barrel at Walmart loot if I've ever seen it. However, the actual fight was quite fun, so we did it a few times. 5 people out of 7 would suggest to wrangle a honeybee. Next we were told that maybe if this one didn't give good loot, there was an endangered ice bear hanging out in the snow caves just waiting to get purged. And the best news of all was that there was nobody protecting it. It was free real estate. Or so we thought. We popped in with 2 Barneys and a hairy turkey. We were warming up before the fight, and let me tell you, last time I dealt with a savage bear in Ark, I mentioned my favorite fantasy threesome, which involves Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, and a rabid herpetic rape-crazed grizzly bear. If there was a bear I would choose to be part of that specific fantasy, then let me tell you friends, this is that bear. Steinbjorn, which by the way means stone bear in Norse, was a viciously adrenaline-pumped crack addict. And like a guy that had been on the lay low for a while trying to kick a bad habit, he was quite easily angered. So there we were trying to be all kinds of menacing. Meanwhile, Crack MacD over here had nothing better to do than plan on how to sell our kidneys when he was done with us. Luckily, however, we ended up winning, and much to our surprise, the loot remained utter trash. It was in fact worse than the honeybee. At least this one gave us some element. For now, that's all I've got to show you lunatics. The enemy tribe was wiped away, and now we're setting up for some bigger wars to hopefully come in a few weeks. I will see you in the next one. And to the tribe farmers only, we will see you soon. Much love from Happy Joji.